When I go to work out, I put on my headset. I'm in my own zone. I'm in my own frequency. I get home, I take that headset off. I'm feeling empowered. I'm feeling great. I took a shower. I'm ready to pass out as soon as I get out of the shower. I have zero energy all of a sudden. I'm yawning. What happened? I was so motivated 10 minutes ago. When you change that station, when you look at what you're feeding yourself or what you're allowing to harmonize your thought processes to, that's the difference between feeling motivated and unmotivated. It's the difference between changing the station. So I would, in the short way of saying it, yes, it is as simple as changing the station. But the longer moment is, what are you feeding yourself? And then what you're feeding yourself is your diet. So then you have to ask, what are you practicing? Are you practicing a diet of healthy frequencies, of healthy messaging that's allowing you to stay tuned? A piano needs to be tuned every so often. A guitar, you tune almost every single time. You have to have an instrument that helps you to tune your guitar. So it's something we have to constantly do. But if we do it as a practice, we can stay on the frequency that we desire.
Let's move to trunk, the next growth stage. Why is trunk the core?
From all that I am, it is the place where your seed and your roots are already established. The core is the strongest part of a tree, of yourself, of your pillars in life. It is also the demonstration of your strength, something that has already been established under the surface. It's also just like there's rings to a tree, and as it grows out. Your strength or your core has to continue to grow out to support how tall or how much you inspire to grow, how much you inspire to reach up. When I think about how important our practices are, our practices is what creates the excellence and the excellent version of who we are.
What are practices that a reader could instill to strengthen their core?
So my way of looking at it is, or the way I call it, is spiritual practices. And I wanted to say spiritual practices because I wanted to recognize the importance of it being something that connects to the inner part of our being. So exercise, it's okay, that's a physical exercise, that's a physical practice, but it's also a spiritual practice. There's a reason why some people call the gym their sanctuary. There's a reason why we're inspired by people who have a physique that we have not accomplished or that we seek to accomplish. There's something spiritually taking place in the formation of our physical bodies. And then you look at the practices in our relationships, in the way we go about our everyday life, the sayings that we live by. Those sayings and all of that is a practice that is instilled in the very nature of who we are. That being, that spiritual practice, that spiritual formation is what defines our everyday strength. When I talked about waking up at 04 and I couldn't do that on my own, I needed my root system to support me. And eventually, when I grew my spiritual practice, it became a part of my character. My character is, I can get up whenever I want. That wasn't who I was before. I had to grow that part of my character so that it became who I am. So your spiritual practices are who you are. It's a practice, and eventually it becomes who you are. When you define someone's legacy and you say, my grandmother, my grandfather, who were they? And that next thing that you say was their spiritual practice, because that's how they defined themselves. So think about what you're practicing in life, or maybe what you stopped practicing in life and you want to recommit to.
So for our total well-being, you highlight the importance of mental health. Why is mental health just as important as the exercise, the recommendations that you've made?
We talked about heart and mind cohesion, and I think that given a certain period of time, those things can get out of line so much, both the mental as well as the heart, that we need help to bring those things back in line. And we are so drifted far apart that you need the Coast Guard, so to speak, to come and find those pieces to bring it back together. And we can't alienate resources, tools that can support us. Maybe we have a mental health cold, or maybe we have a mental health condition. But whether it's a condition or a cold, so to speak, these are tools for us to be the best version of ourselves. It's not to hide the fact that we're not the best version of ourselves. So I wanted to recognize, especially in my own story, there were moments where maybe I needed some mental health professional to support me and to help me. Maybe I was just going through a cold moment and needed my root system to support me. But I didn't want a reader to limit this and say, oh, I can do it all on my own. I just have to follow these spiritual practices in this book and voila. No. This book, this small and this thin, is meant to be shared. It's meant to be discussed. And if you're not confident in who you discuss those things with, discuss it with a mental health professional. Allow those people who are experts at those who are shipwrecked help you to discover what it is that can support you. And I didn't want to miss that.